almost impossible. So physical stores, I think to many is challenging, but I think it's still relevant in the near future or in the future. I think there is opportunity for to move the place. If currently you only have physical stores, you really try to look for online opportunities. Online opportunities means eventually starting, if you do not already have a Facebook page, for example, um, potentially you should start a Facebook page for your business or your services if you may not have a website. So I think potentially you need to start to develop a website for your business. I think that's an opportunity for those who do not have. So, Constantine, maybe you can go just translate for that.
သူစီကနေလည်းတဲ့ဆွေးနွေးသွားတဲ့နေရာကသူ 4P ကိုအခြေခံပြီးဆွေးနွေးသွားတဲ့အခါမှာအခု place ဆိုရဲပေါ့နော်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ကုန်ပစ္စည်းတွေကိုဘယ်မှာစပြီးမှ distribute လုပ်မှာဘယ်မှာစပြီးမှ present လုပ်မလဲဆိုတဲ့အကြောင်းကို4P's တွေကနောက်ထပ်တစ် P ပေါ့နော် P တစ်ခုဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဆရာအနေနဲ့ပြောထားဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အနာဂတ်မှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ပေါ့နော်ဒီ physical store တွေအစားကိုကဒီ online platform မှာကိုကနေရာယူထားရမှာပြီးတော့ online platform ကအရန်ကိုအခုဆိုလို့ရှိရင်သူမှာ advantages တွေအရန်ရှိရကိုက online platform ပေါ်မှာကိုယ့်ရဲ့ business ကိုဒီ present လုပ်ခြင်းအပြင်ပေါ့နော်ကိုကဆိုလို့ရှိရင်24နာရီ like 24/7ပေါ့နော်အမြဲတမ်းကိုက present လုပ်နိုင်မယ်ဆိုတဲ့ဟာလေးကိုသူအနေနဲ့ရှင်းပြပါဒါကြောင့်မို့ကိုကတကယ်လို့များကိုရှိမှာ online platform နဲ့မရှိသေးတဲ့ခါကျရင်လည်းဒါ digital ဘက်ကိုပြောင်းလာတဲ့အစဖြစ်နေပြီဆိုတော့လေစေစမများအနေနဲ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ business တွေကိုပေါ့နော်ဒီ digital platform မှာ digital online present အနေနဲ့စပြီးမှလုပ်ဖို့ရတဲ့သူအနေနဲ့ပြောတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ် yes
So I think you also explained a little bit about like digital community. Basically, if you are only doing business here in Myanmar, if you're going online or going digital, will give you a bigger opportunity to showcase or to create some awareness or to really just build your network, not only in Myanmar but maybe in the region in terms of the ASEAN countries. They are able to see a product instead of because again travel restrictions, nobody are able to come and fly to Myanmar to look at your products. So how can you share those kind of opportunities? I think like places like this, a webinar will be a good opportunity. But if your product or services used to be done at a retail where you need to have a face-to-face interaction, so I think this is something that will need to be thought of. How do you continue to do business if you are not able to do face-to-face interaction with your customer? So I think some part of this is very important to have a think about this. I think the second thing that I would suggest is also to really train some of your sales staff, sales team to be able to use some digital tools, go online to really talk to their customers, to showcase products, for example. So the place actually it's a good opportunity for us, for the SMEs right now to really explore going into online as kind of a growth opportunity for the business.
ဒီတစ်ချက်ပြန်ပြောထားတာဒီနှစ်ချက်ပေါ့နော်ပထမဆုံးတစ်ချက်ဆိုရှင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product တွေကိုပဲဒီအထူးပြန်ပြောထားတာပေါ့နော်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product တွေကိုပဲ online မှာ present လုပ်ရမယ်အမျိုးရဲ့ channel အမျိုးမျိုးကိုသုံးပြီးမှပေါ့နော်ဥပမာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီအခုဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product webinar အနေနဲ့လုပ်တာလားပေါ့နော်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ present ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကို online မှာ present လုပ်နိုင်ပြီးတဲ့သူအနေနဲ့ဒီကိုတက်နိုင်တဲ့ tool တွေပေါ့နော်ကိုတက်နိုင်တဲ့ platform တွေကိုရွေးချယ်ပြီးပြောတာပါတယ်နောက်တစ်ချက်အနေနဲ့ဆိုသူကိုယ့်ရဲ့ skill ကိုလည်းပေါ့နော် digital ဘိုင်းဆိုင်ရာ skill တွေကိုလည်းသူအနေနဲ့လေ့လာထားတဲ့နေပေါ့ပိုပြီးလေ့လာသူ့ရဲ့ skill digital ဘိုင်းဆိုင်ရာမှာပိုပြီးမှအားဖြည့်ပေးဖို့ရတဲ့သူအနေနဲ့ပြောတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ် yeah HSC can move on yes
So like I mentioned earlier, I think that's also an opportunity here. I just put here a couple of tips. For example, try to really, just to recap, try to create your business presence online. If you do not have one, if you already have a website, if you already have a Facebook page, or and look at how you have been managing those platforms. Are you actively on those platforms? Are customers coming to talk to you on your social media? Are they inquiring? So I think those are opportunities where you can scale. Maybe it is time for you to explore expanding or learning about doing marketing on social media or doing marketing on your website. Or, for example, even opportunity to really, if you are in the B2B space, you have a lot of businesses or owners of businesses as your customer. There is also opportunity for you to start an email subscription. So you are able to share your new products, your services, your updates via emails to your business customers, for example, because I believe that business customers usually do use their emails relatively frequently. So I think that's also a good opportunity for that. And really, basically, online will give you a chance to really update and manage on a regular basis to connect with your customer, especially if you are running social media.
ဒါနဲ့ခုနဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ online business တွေကိုပေါ့နော် place လုပ်ရမယ့်နေရာကိုပဲထပ်ပြီးပြောတော့တာပေါ့အဓိကကိုအနေနဲ့ social media တွေရှိပြီးသားဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီတဲ့ social media တွေပို့ပြီးမှ upgrade လုပ်တာတွေပေါ့နော်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ process ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product တွေအကုန် product တော်တော်များကိုဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ဒီ social media တွေမှာကိုယ့်အနေနဲ့အနည်းတန်းပေါ့နော်ရှိနေပေးဖို့ present ရှိနေပေးဖို့သူထပ်ပြီးမှပြောသွားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ပြီးတော့ဒီ social media အနေနဲ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer အနေနဲ့ပေါ့နော်ပြန်ပြီး connect လုပ်တဲ့အခါမှာဒါဒီအရင် effective ဖြစ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီ social media tool ကိုအဲ့ဒီနဲ့သူအနေနဲ့ထပ်ပြီးပြောသွားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ဒီဖြစ်တင်ပါတယ်
One last thing before I move to the next slide here is, I think, for example, I'm not sure if you are familiar with Google My Business. I think Google My Business is a useful tool for businesses when people are searching on the web, for example, for your business location, or your business operations, because I think there is a tremendous growth in terms of Google searching in Myanmar. People are searching more right now because they really can't go out too much and there are a lot of restrictions as everyone. So those are tools that potentially can be explored. I think Google provides basically quite a lot of free platforms for businesses to really be able to communicate to customers, to reach out to customers in kind of an organic manner.
ဖြစ်တဲ့ဖြစ်တဲ့တော့ပေါ့နော်ဒီ Google My Business ဆိုတဲ့အရာလေးသူရှင်းပြောတော့ဖြစ်ပါတော့ Google အနေနဲ့ဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ဒီစီးပွားရေးလုပ်ငန်းတွေအတွက်ပေါ့နော်သူရဲ့စီးပွားရေးလုပ်ငန်းတွေ online မှာပြန် reach များအောင်ပေါ့နော်တွေ့များအောင်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင် Google အနေနဲ့ပေါ့နော်ဒီ free ရတဲ့ဒီ platform တွေရှိရပေါ့နော်ကိုကဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ဒီသုံးစရာမလိုပဲပေါ့နော်တော့အဲဒီသုံးစိတ်မရှိမလိုပဲနဲ့ free ပေးနေတဲ့ platform တွေရှိရပေါ့ဒါလေးသုံးနေဆိုရှင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product တွေကကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer တွေရှိရောက်မယ်ပေါ့နော်ဥပမာပြောလို့ရှိရင် organic reach ပေါ့နော်အဲ့လေးတစ်ထည့်ပြောသွားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ဒီကနေလည်းဒီ Google My Business အကြောင်းကိုပြောသွားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင် Thank you
So I think the other one will be
yeah, I think your voice is a bit low. Can you please up the volume? Yeah, it's a bit low. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah, some of them they can't hear.
Let me talk louder.
Yes.
So in terms of price, I think all SME businesses are very sensitive in terms of their product and services. Price is usually the most important. I think on this area, one of the key one is really to build loyalty that can lead to kind of brand advocacy in a way that what I mean is to ensure that we do not go into really a price war, but really base pricing on value-added services instead of really going down just on price competitiveness. So really looking into what are the key advantages that you have. Again, what kind of products do you carry? What kind of services do you carry? And what have you been charging? And how you can look into potentially doing subscription based, if you are selling to direct to customer. For example, you buy on a frequent basis, you can think about reward programs that can keep the customers coming back to you. If you're a retail business, it can be really on like a coupon basis, like a reward coupons. You buy, you come back every time, you get a free stamp on the coupon. So really thinking about how best we can do in this area. So I think one of the suggestions I put here is basically, for example, subscription. Subscription is quite a new concept, but I think again, because of this challenge, there may be opportunity for some of the businesses or SMEs to really look into exploring subscription-based model in terms of your pricing, because again, things are really moving into a more digital-oriented. Customers' nature are slightly changing to really take on a lot more understanding and learning about digital. One of the reasons I say this is also there is tremendous growth in terms of people using mobile money. Mobile wallet in this market is growing quarter on quarter, year on year. Transaction volume is also very high. So people are really trying to adopt and understand to use digital platforms. So in terms of that also, how can your product, yours with being priced or your services being priced and being able to transact on digital platforms instead of really using Myanmar chat transaction, manual transaction? Do you look at having going online, signing up for potentially, for example, with merchants like PDC Pay? Do you accept QR? Do you accept Wave Money? So those are really opportunities for SME businesses.
အခုကဒီသူပေါ့နော် 4 piece တရားနောက်တစ်ခုက price ပေါ့နော် pricing သတ်မှတ်တာကိုသူ့အနေနဲ့ပြောသွားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ဒီမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်သူ့အနေနဲ့ဒီ online platform ကိုသုံးဖို့ပေါ့နော် digital ဘိုင်းကိုသွားဖို့သူ့အနေနဲ့စောင်းပြောသွားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ဒီဘိုင်းမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီ pricing သတ်မှတ်တဲ့အခါမှာနော်ဒီ brand loyalty ပေါ့နော် customer loyalty ရဖို့ပေါ့နော်သူ့အနေနဲ့ဒီလုံနိုင်တဲ့ tool လေးရှိရဲပေါ့နော်ဒါလေးရအသုံးပြုရတဲ့သူ့အနေနဲ့ suggestion ပေးသွားပါတော့ပထမဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီ customer တွေကိုကိုယ့်ရှိလာဝယ်တဲ့အတွက်သူတို့ပြန်မှ rewards ပေးရတယ်နောက်မို့ online platform မှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီ online shopping မှာအများဆုံးမြင်နေရတဲ့ဒီ coupons ပေးရတယ်ပေါ့နော် customer တွေကို coupon ပေးရတယ် reward ပြန်ပေးရတယ်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့လိုမျိုးပိုင်းနဲ့တူသွားဖို့ပြောသွားပါရှင်နောက်တစ်ခုက subscription ပေါ့နော်အခုဒီ online platform မှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်မြင်နေရဒီdigital သုံးပြီးလုပ်နေတဲ့ business တွေမှာဆိုဒီapp တွေမှာဆိုဒီ subscription လေးရှိရပေါ့နော်အဲ့ဒါဆိုရင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ business ပိုင်းကိုယ့်ရဲ့ business ပိုင်းဆိုင်ရာအကြောင်းတွေကိုလည်းဒီ subscription နဲ့ပြန်သွားရင်ရောပေါ့နော်အဲ့သူအနေနဲ့ဒါလေးကိုစဉ်းစားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ် Yeah, you can move on.
Yeah. So basically, I think I put a tick here is really to revisit the current product and services that you have and really explore if there is opportunity for doing a subscription-based model for your product so you can keep the customers coming back to purchase as well as there's a reward scheme behind it. The other one that I suggest will probably be to expand your channel of payments in terms of how you get your customers to pay you. So I think signing up with mobile wallet companies or banks such as KBC Bank, also like Wave Money, and there's a lot of channels right now for customers really to pay you in terms of they go on mute because I think I'm getting a time.
Yes, unmute her. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Not to price.
So the kind of the fight.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. အဲ့တော့ထပ်ပြီးမှဆောင်းပြောတော့ပဲဒီ subscription model ပဲပြောတော့ပါเนาะဒါဆိုလို့ရှိရင် customer ကိုပြန်ပြီးမှအခုရှိပြန်လာcustomer keep လုပ်သွားနိုင်တယ်ပေါ့เนาะဒီအဲ့တော့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့စီးပွားရေးလုပ်ငန်းတွေကိုယ့်ရဲ့လုပ်ငန်းတွေဆိုလဲပေါ့เนาะဒီပြောတဲ့ဒီ subscription model လေးပေါ့ဒါလေးကိုအသုံးပြုကြည့်ပေါ့เนาะဒါလေးကို try ကြည့်လို့တူနေပြောတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ဒီစစ်တမိုင်း
I think the kind of another key is promotion. So promotion is looking into really how you communicate your promotion. And for this, I really want to focus basically on the SMEs that is on the retail space. Basically, you're selling to the end user, not so much of a trade. Or if you're a trader, this may not be so relevant to you. If you're a wholesaler, again, this may not be so relevant to you. But this is basically how you can interact with your end user, with customers that are consuming your products. I think if you have already, when I stated earlier, if you have a social media account, for example, a Facebook account, if you have a website, and you have already an email list of customers, so I think that there is a lot of things that we can do in terms of reaching out to your customers, because most traditional format of promotion is really at retail. If you go to places like retail stores, shopping malls, the promotion happens there. But if you have a Facebook store or online store, you can do your actual promotion on the website, on your Facebook stores, for example. And it also helps provide more visibility to your awareness, because you're giving additional discounts, product trial. So this really promotion mix I put here as a tip is to really ensure that you consider promotion as part of it, your marketing mix. So you have the place, you have your product. So then you have to throw in your promotion, and where this can be communicated. I think this is really important to really have a solid marketing mix.
Okay,
Yes, consider.
Yeah. အခုသူပြောတာဒီ promotion ဘိုင်းပေါ့နော်သူပြောတာဒီ marketing mix မှာဆိုရှင် 4P ထဲကနေသူနောက်ဆုံးတစ်ခုပြောတော့မယ့်ဟာ promotion ကိုသူပြောတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ဒီ promotion လို့ဖို့ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အဓိကသူရဲ့ဒီအရှိကဖြစ်တဲ့ P3 ခုပေါ့နော် product price place product idea လေးကလည်းအရေးကြီးရပေါ့နော်ဒါတွေဟာကိုယ့်ရဲ့ဒီဟာတွေကိုဒီ product ကိုကြော်ညာဖို့ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီနောက်ထပ် promotion ကပြန်လိုက်ရပါတော့ဆိုအရှိ3 P ကိုခံသမားလုပ်ထားလို့ဆိုရှင်နောက်အဲ့ product ကိုပုံပြီးမှ promote လုပ်နိုင်လို့ဆိုရှင်တော့ promotion strategy ပြန်လာတယ်ဆိုတာလေးသူပြောထားဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ဒီထဲမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အစ physical store မှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင် promotion tool အများကြီးရှိရပါတော့အများကြီးရှိတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့တချို့အရာလေး effective မဖြစ်တဲ့ဟာလေးရှိမှာ flyer ဝေရတယ်ဘာလို့ရှိရပါတော့ဒါပေမဲ့ဒီ physical ဘိုင်းမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီတချို့အရာလေးမှာ effective ရှိရလေးရှိရပါတော့အဲ့တော့သူ့အနေနဲ့အခုဒီ promotion tool မှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီ customer to customer ပေါ့နော်ဒီကိုရလိုက်တဲ့ customer ကနေနောက်တဲ့ customer ကိုပြန်ပြီး review ပေးရတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီသူအနေနဲ့ဒီ word of mouth ပေါ့နော်ဒီဟာလေးကိုလည်းသူအနေနဲ့စောင်းပြောတာဒါလေးမမေ့ဘူးပေါ့နော် promotion မှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒါလေးကလည်းအဓိကကြတဲ့အပိုင်းဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဆိုတာကိုပြောတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်
And just to kind of recap, it's actually what really matters is for SME to really focus on implementing the marketing mix. So the marketing mix, my meaning, is the 4 P's. So you have the product, you have the price, you have the place, you have the promotion. So all this needs to align with your brand. If again the brand is important, if you are a SME looking into retail customers, if you are doing for B2B, your brand may not really be the number one concern for you. I think the number one concern is really to understand the customers, where I will be talking on later. So in terms of the digital economy, I think it really, I'm sure you all have been facing these challenges, is really to see how we can engage with customers. Customers means if you are traders, if you are wholesalers, talking to your retailers, what are their challenges and some behavior if they are not buying products from you. are they buying from somebody else, or maybe their shops are closed. They do not really do the business anymore. So that is to really understand what are the challenges, and maybe some behavior is really due to some local government restrictions in terms of the business, the type of business opening and running. So I think marketing mix is still very vital. SME needs really to adapt them into a way that really fits your business. And how we look into this, my recommendation is really to go back to the few slides earlier. If you are looking at your business, look at what are your product and service. Where are you selling your product and service right now? And the price, of course, what pricing and how are people paying you? Maybe the payment model needs to be reviewed. If they can provide you an online payment, is much easier, then they will probably may transact with you more. And again, if you have the 3 Ps, then how can you make yourself, your service, your product more attractive with some promotion that will interest your customers?
Okay. သူအနေနဲ့ပေါ့နော်ဒါပြန်ပြီး recap လုပ်ရမယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အရှိအကြောင်းအရာလေးတွေသူအနေနဲ့ပြန်ပြီးမှထပ်ပြီးမှပြောသွားရပဲရှိရပြောသွားတာပေါ့နော်အဓိက marketing mix ပေါ့အရှိမပြောထားတဲ့ product price place promotion ပေါ့နော်ဒီသုံးခုနဲ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ brand နဲ့ကကိုက်ညီမှုရှိနေရမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီ brand တစ်ခုကို product တစ်ခုလုပ်တော့မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီ marketing mix ဆိုတဲ့ဒီ 4P ကိုထည့်သွင်းစဉ်းစားရမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီဟာတွေကပဲကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer နဲ့ဒီ engagement မြင့်လာဖို့ရတဲ့အဓိကအနေနဲ့ဒီအဓိကအနေနဲ့လုပ်နေတဲ့ဟာတွေဖြစ်တဲ့အတွက်ပေါ့ဒီ marketing mix ကဆိုရင်လည်းဒီ SME လုပ်ငန်းတွေအတွက်ပေါ့နော် SME အနေနဲ့ဒီ marketing mix ကိုဒီထည့်သွင်းစဉ်းစားရမယ်အဓိကအပိုင်းဖြစ်တယ်ဆိုတာလေးပြောသွားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ပြီးတော့သူ့အနေနဲ့ပေါ့နော်အခုဒီရဲ့ဒီ marketing mix ကိုပိုကောင်းအောင်ပို့ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီ online payment လေးတွေလည်းရှိလာပြီပေါ့နော်ဒါလေးအနေနဲ့ဒီ SME လုပ်နေတဲ့ဆက်စမများအနေနဲ့ဒီ online payment ကိုပေါ့နော်ဒါလေးတွေကိုကိုအနေနဲ့ဒီ catch up လုပ်ထားဖို့ပေါ့နော်အဲ့လေးလည်းဒီဆောင်ပြောတော့ဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ဒီစစ်တင်ပါတယ် Yeah, you can move on. Okay.
Here I will take a quick break and we have a Q&A.
Okay. အခုပေါ့နော်အရှိမပြောသွားတဲ့ဒီ marketing mix ပေါ့နော်ဒီ 4P နဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးမှစစ်စမများအနေနဲ့နီးစရာမိကွန်းလေးရရှိရဆိုလို့ရှင်တော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီ9မိနစ်ပေါ့နော်9မိနစ်လေးအချိန်ရပါတယ်ဒီတစ်ပိုင်းနောက်တစ်ပိုင်းကိုဆက်မစင်းနေဒီမှာဒီအပိုင်းမှာဆက်ပြီးဒီအရှိပိုင်းပြောသွားတဲ့ဟာလေးကိုပေါ့နော်ကိုမြင့်ချင်းတဲ့မိကွန်းလေးရှိရင်တော့စမများမေးပြီးပါအောင်ဟုတ်ကဲ့ဒီနဲ့တရက်နေလို့ရတယ်လို့ချက်ပေါ်အနေနဲ့သိနေလို့ရပါတယ်ဟုတ်ဆရာအတန်လေးကမကြည့်နေရပါတော့အဲ့အလေးတစ်ချက်တော့ရှိပါတယ်ရှင်အားလုံးကိုလည်းကောင်းပါပါတယ်ဆရာအတန်လေးအဲ့ဒါဖြစ်နေလို့ပါရှင်ဟုတ်လည်းပြန်တွေ့ပါမယ်ဟုတ်ကဲ့ပါဆက်စမများမိကုရှိလားရှိရင်မိကုမရှိရင်တော့နောက်ရက်တစ်ပိုင်းကိုဆက်ပြီးတွားမယ်ပေါ့နော်နောက်ပိုင်းမှာလည်းဒီတစ်ပိုင်းပြီးတော့ရင်လည်း Q&A session တစ်ခါတော့ပြန်ရှိမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်
ဟုတ်လေ promotion အကြောင်းလေးကိုမေးချင်တာပါနော်ဒီတဲ့ economy မှာလေ promotion ကိုဘယ်လို technique ဘယ်လိုနည်းနဲ့သုံးရင်အဆင်ပြေလဲဆိုတာသိချင်တာကြည့်
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ဒီစမနေနေဘယ်လုပ်ငန်းအတွက်ဆိုတာမျိုးရှိလားရှင်ဘယ်လုပ်ငန်းဆိုတဲ့ဘယ် product မျိုးတက်ကို promotion လုပ်လို့ဖြစ်
တယ်တက်ကိုမှာကြည့်
ဟုတ်ကဲ့
Essential coffee ပေါ့
ဟုတ်ကဲ့စမနေနေ coffee ပေါ့နော်စမရဲ့ product ကဟုတ်ကဲ့ဟုတ်ကဲ့ဆမအတန်လေးသိမကြည့်လို့ပါနော်တစ်ချက်ပြန်ပြောပြလို့ရလားရှင်
coffee ကိုပေါ့နော်ဒီ digital မှာပေါ့နော်ဘယ်လို promotion တွေလုပ်ရင်ဘယ်လိုနည်းလမ်းအဆင်ပြေမလဲဆိုတာသိချင်တာပါရှင်
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ပါကျေးဇူးပါဆမဟုတ်ကဲ့ riches like Siama Kimin she asked one question is that about the promotion tool for her product the product is the coffee so he wants to know that the digital and marketing tool for her product promotion. Thank you.
In terms of promotion means you want to reach to new customers or really creating trial. I think that if let's say if you're reaching to new customers, if you already have a social media presence, how customers can be able to purchase your product. And in terms of running promotions, really is to go for some long term, like I mentioned, if you already have a customer, how can they go on a subscription base? Because I think coffee lovers or coffee drinkers, you may want to keep them with you if they like your coffee. If you can do kind of subscription based type of a model for your products, then you can say you sign up with us for 3 months. Maybe a cup of coffee a day will cost you this much, and if you sign us up for 3 months, you get a 20% off, and we can deliver packages of coffee to you. It really depends on how and what kind of customers understanding do you have. Because for me, if I sell a coffee, if I run a coffee shop or I sell a coffee bean, I will probably look into how I can keep the customers coming back to me. And there's a lot of tactics there. Going back, there's no, I would say there is no one single solution that I can recommend. My recommendation will come in the next few slides to really understand your customer behavior. That would be my recommendation. Instead of what promotion should I run, think about what your customer will buy. That is my recommendation.
ဆမဆရာအနေနဲ့ဒီပထမပိုင်းမှာသူ suggestion ပေါ့နော်သူ comment သူပြောသွားတဲ့အပိုင်းကခဏအနေနဲ့ဒီ subscription model မျိုးလည်းသုံးလို့ရတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဥပမာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ်အနေနဲ့ဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ဒီရဲ့ဆိုင်မှာdigital platform သုံးရင်ပေါ့နော်ဥပမာ sign up လုပ်မယ်ပေါ့3လ sign up လုပ်လို့3လ sign up လုပ်မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီ customer ကိုဘယ်လောက် discount ချပေးမှာလဲဆိုတဲ့ဟာပေါ့နော်ဒီ tool တစ်ခုသုံးလို့ရတယ်ဆိုတဲ့အကြောင်းသူဒီ subscription model ကိုသူပြောသွားတာဖြစ်တယ်နောက်တစ်ခုကတော့ဒီဆရာအနေနဲ့ဒီ promotion လုပ်မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer ကဘာလဲဆိုတာအရင်သိဖို့လိုတယ်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့အတွက်သူရဲ့ဒီ နောက် section မှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer ကိုဘယ်လိုမျိုးကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer ရဲ့အပြုအမူ behavior တွေကိုဘယ်လိုမျိုးပေါ့နော်လေ့လာလို့ရမယ်ဆိုတော့နောက် section မှာသူပြန်ပြီးဆွေးနွေးကောင်းမယ်လို့ပြောပါရရှင်ဟုတ်ကဲ့အဲ့တော့ဆမအနေနဲ့ရောဆမနေတဲ့မိကွန်းနဲ့ပေါ့နော်ဆရာအခုဆရာရဲ့အဖြေလေးနဲ့ရောဆမကြည့်နေလားရှင်ဟုတ်ကဲ့
ကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်ရှင်ဆရာမ
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ပါဟုတ်ကဲ့ကျေးဇူးပါ customer behavior ပတ်သက်ပြီးနောက် section မှာဆရာအနေနဲ့ပြန်ပြီးဆွေးနွေးသွားမှာအဲ့ခါကျရင်တော့ပိုပြီးတိဆောင်ပါလိမ့်မယ်ရှင်ဟုတ်ကျေးဇူးပါဟုတ်ကဲ့ဟုတ်ကဲ့ကျွန်တော်ဆက်ဆံပါတွေပေါ့နော်မိကိုမရှိသေးဘူးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီ next section ကိုသွားလိုက်တော့မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ဒီနောက်ဆုံး section မှာလည်း Q&A section ပြန်ရှိရတဲ့ပေါ့နော်အဲ့ချိန်ကျရင်ကျွန်တော်အနေနဲ့ပြန်လေးလို့ရပါတယ်ရှင် okay okay Richard I think we can move on to the next section thank you
yeah okay yeah so next one is it's a little bit interesting this is kind of a concept that we use to really understand your customer persona. So I give you a question here. It's like, how well do you know your customer? Maybe you can have a 1 minute to think about it. How well do you know your customer? I think this is a very important question that every business should ask, not only SME, but particularly right now in COVID situation, is really important. It's not about your product. I think it is how well do you know your customer, who they are. So if you're looking at this screen, right, so there's a skeleton man. So usually this is the basic understanding of businesses of their customer. They know they are human. They know roughly this guy buys. What else you know about him or her? So these are questions that we need to ask ourselves. Businesses need to ask ourselves. Like if you're a coffee drinker or a coffee lover, who this person is, how many cups of coffee he or she will drink? Do we have this kind of information? Do you really know that customer? If you are in a wholesale, basically you may know the reason every month they will put in an order for you. Do you really know why they put in this order? Do we really know if you are a wholesaler, the retailer is buying maybe 10 bags of rice every month, 10 bags of rice. What is the reason he's buying 10 bags of rice? Do we know that? I think that's questions that we should understand. Maybe you can translate part of it.
ဒီပိုင်းမှာဆိုရင်ဆရာအနေနဲ့တွေ့ဒီ customer personas ကိုပြောရမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer ရဲ့ behavior ကိုယ့်ရဲ့အပြုအမူတွေပေါ့နော် customer ဘာကြိုက်တတ်လဲဆိုတဲ့ဟာပေါ့အဲ့တော့ဒီ system အနေနဲ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့စီးပွားရေးလုပ်ငန်းကိုယ့်လုပ်ငန်းရဲ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ရဲ့ဟာပေါ့နော်ဒီ product ကို customer ဒီ customer ကဥပမာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဆရာအနေနဲ့ coffee အကြောင်းပြောသွားတာပေါ့နော်ဒီ coffee နဲ့ပတ်သက်ဆိုရင်ဒီ customer coffee ကိုပြန်ခွဲတောက်တာလဲဘယ်လိုမျိုးအရသာကြိုက်တာလဲပေါ့နော်အဲ့လိုမျိုးတွေသူသိထားဖို့ပေါ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer အကြောင်းကိုဘယ်လောက်သိလဲဆိုတာကိုပြန်မေးရမယ်ပေါ့နော်ပြန်မေးရမယ်ဆိုတော့ market research တွေလုပ်ရမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီကနေလည်းဒီ customer ရဲ့ဒီအပြုအမူလေးပေါ့နော်သူရဲ့အကြိုက်လေးကိုသူအနေနဲ့ဒီ sensitive ဖို့ရတဲ့ပြောသွားတာဖြစ်ပါရဲ့ရှင် Yeah, you can go on.
Yeah. So in terms of really understanding the customer, we have this, we call it customer persona. Means it is not just a base understanding that this person or this company buy from you, but really to really understand the motivation, the reason why they buy. Going back to the example of coffee, he or she buy your coffee is because maybe of the taste. Is your coffee taste better, more sweet, more bitter, more aroma? I'm not sure. There is the reason why people buy your coffee versus others. So I think if it's I'm a coffee seller, I really want to know why this customer is buying my coffee. So how can I, if I understand this, then how can I create or market or then I can do promotion to reach out to these people more. Maybe my coffee is bitter, so I need to go out and look for people who like bitter taste. The more people who know or to like bitter coffee taste, then likely the chances are they will come and try and buy my coffee because my coffee has this bitter taste. Just an example.
ဆရာအနေနဲ့ဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer ကိုသိရမယ်ဆိုတဲ့အပိုင်းကိုပဲထပ်ပြီးတော့ပြောရပါတော့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product နဲ့အဲဒီ customer ကကိုယ့် product ကိုဘာကြောင့်ဝယ်တာလဲပေါ့နော်ဘာကြောင့်ဝယ်တာလဲဆိုတဲ့ဟာကိုဒါကိုအနေနဲ့ပြန်မေးမယ်ဒီ customer ရဲ့အပြုအမူတွေကိုပြန်ပြီးလေ့လာမယ်ဆိုတဲ့ဟာကိုပဲဆရာအနေနဲ့ထပ်ဆောင်ပြောသွားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်
So the image here is just, for example, a skeleton man and a smurf. So it's a skeleton man. It is just a basic. It's like a skeleton. But majority of the businesses anywhere around the world, they know the customers as the skeleton. So very basic information. So right now, moving forward, I think we should understand our customer much better. Their habits really depends on what they do, what they buy, why they buy. So these are things that you can understand by spending more time talking to your existing customers. Because right now, I think it's a good opportunity to really look at your sales numbers. This customer is buying. Can we reach out to him? Can we do a phone interview? Why they buy from me? The more understanding you have of your customers, I think the better you can do your marketing, the better you can sell your products, or the better way that you can improve your product or improve your service. Because talking to customers is really important and getting feedback is really important.
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ပါဆရာအနေနဲ့ပေါ့နော်ဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer နဲ့ကိုယ်နဲ့ relationship ကိုခံခံမာလုပ်ထားဖို့လည်းထပ်ပြောတော့ပါပေါ့နော်အခုအချိန်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုဗစ်ကြောင့်နားနေရတဲ့အချိန်ကြီးရှိပေါ့နော်ဒီချိန်ကြဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒါကိုယ့်ရဲ့ရှိပြီးသား customer နဲ့ပြန်ပြီးမှဆက်သွယ်ပြီးမှပေါ့နော် customer နဲ့စကားပြောချင်တယ်သူတို့ဘာလိုမျိုးတွေကြိုက်တယ်သူတို့အကြိုက်တွေကိုကိုယ့်အနေနဲ့ပြန်ပြီးမှလေ့လာတာတော့ပေါ့နော် customer နဲ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ရှိပြီးသား customer နဲ့relationship ခိုင်မာပို့လို့ပြီးသူတို့နဲ့ဒီစကားပို့ပြောဖြစ်ပို့ပြောရပို့ပြီးပြောပေးမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါကြောင့်မှသူတို့ဘာလို့ချင်လဲဆိုတာသိမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါလေးပဲဆရာအနေနဲ့တော့ဒါ ဒီဘက်မှာတော့ customer ကိုကဘယ်လောက်သိလဲဆိုတာဟာကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကိုပေါ့နော်ကိုကောင်းအောင်လုပ်နိုင်တယ်ကိုကောင်းအောင်လုပ်နိုင်တဲ့နည်းလမ်းတစ်ခုပဲပေါ့ဒီတက်ကိုမှရှိပြီးသားကိုယ့်ရဲ့ existing customer တွေကိုပြန်ပြီးမှသူတို့နဲ့ပြန်ပြီးမှပေါ့နော်သူတို့ရှိရ feedback ပြန်ယူတာတို့ review ပြန်ယူတာတို့လုပ်ပြီးပြန်ပြောတာဖြစ်ပါရဲ့ရှင်
So I just give a reference here. That's like for customer persona. So this is kind of what we talk about when we talk about customer persona. Really understanding or putting this. If you for SME, if you look at it, maybe you can understand which is your biggest customer, which buys the most. That will be the persona that you should build upon. A person that you can understand. Once you understand this person well, then you can see how you can sell to this segment of people because there will be a lot more of similar persona that is in the country or that is in the city that you can really focus on getting them to try your product or your services. So basically it's really to, and a customer persona will also help you in your company to really understand. Let's say if you have a sales team, which customers should your sales team approach? So if you have a persona, you can easily tell the sales team, please, this is the customers that we want to look for. This is their habit, this is their lifestyle. How can we reach out? And if you have specifically a marketing department, so this is how you do marketing. This is the person we want to sell to. So we are more focused because you can't sell to everybody, but you have a focus to really look into more of this type of customers because this type of customers is buying your product and services right now. Yeah.
Okay. ဆရာအနေနဲ့ပေါ့နော်ဒါ solution ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer အကြောင်းကိုစုထားတဲ့ customer persona ရဲ့ဒီပုံစံလေးပေါ့နော်ဒါခုနဆရာမပြီးသွားတယ်လို့ပဲဒီ coffee shop ဒါ solution coffee shop marketing persona ပေါ့နော်ဒါ coffee shop ဒီ coffee shop marketing လုပ်ဖို့ solution ကြီးဒီ customer ရဲ့ persona ပေါ့နော်ဒီမှာ solution ဒါ sample လေးပေါ့နော်ဆရာမတို့လည်းဒီကနေတစ်စင်းကောင်းလို့ရတယ်ပေါ့ဒါဒီဆရာမတစ်ယောက်ရဲ့ဒီ student တစ်ယောက်ရဲ့ Sarah ဆိုတဲ့ student တစ်ယောက်ရဲ့ persona တွေသူနေဘယ်လို list ကောင်းလုပ်တယ်ဆိုတာလေးဖြစ်သွားပါတော့။ဒါတွေပေါ်မူတည်ပြီးမှကိုကဘယ်လိုမျိုး customer တွေကိုအနေနဲ့ချင်းကပ်လို့ရမလဲပေါ့နော်။ဒီ customer ရဲ့ data ရတယ်လေရောက်ဒီ data ကြည့်ပြီးမှဘယ်လိုမျိုး customer ကိုကကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product တွေနဲ့ချင်းကပ်လို့ရမလဲဆိုတော့ဒီဟာကိုသိဖို့ရတဲ့ဒီ customer persona လို့ပုံလို့မျိုးလေးပေါ့နော်။sample လေးကို share အနေနဲ့ပြထားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်။ဒီစစ်တင်ပါတယ်။ Yes. You can move on. Thank you.
Maybe.
Thank you so much. For sharing.
I've actually put here also coffee shop, so I'm not sure. I think this is something that maybe the lady that asked the question earlier can kind of take as a very good reference.
Yes.
If they are selling coffee.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the next one that I want to discuss a bit more is actually on the we call it a customer journey. First, you have the customer persona. Once you have the customer persona, then we can go into customer persona usually fall under this. If you can see my mouse under the purchase, because they are the customers that gives you the most revenue. Basically, they are kind of a loyal customer to you. You are already buying your products, so you want to have a good experience. But again, having these same customers buying more may not be enough for your business. So you need to really look into getting new customers to aware of your product. So usually it's a very basic journey. If you can see here, so this is very kind of self-explanatory. So first, you really need to create the awareness, create the interest. And there are some tactics, which I mentioned earlier. If looking at this situation or this condition of the pandemic, I think a lot of things can be done on social or on digital platforms. For example, you can create your interest and awareness through your Facebook pages that carries your service or your product. Again, can be email. If you go on to Google platform, maybe you can have a website, you can have even a YouTube channel if you need. It really depends on your product. And of course, the traditional, if you have the budget, then you can go on television, you can go on billboard. That is basically to create awareness. So that journey. And also, if right now, if you are going online, so how do people search? People go to Google, they search. People maybe go to Facebook, they also would type in certain words to search. So how can we be there for them? So these are, for example, in Google, in website, you can really look into doing your search engine optimization. People are searching organically. And like I mentioned, like Google My Business, you can also indicate your location. So maybe near me on the maps. So there are a few ways, and those tools on Google are free. It doesn't cost you any money, but you need to set up. It is like you are setting up your Facebook shop page. You need to put in all the information you need to set up. And once it's set up, then people, when they search nearby, if let's say you are selling your coffee shop is near Taketa, so people around Taketa, they'll create coffee shop, then your listing will pop up if you listed. So that kind of things. And of course, the third one is looking into doing some research. Customers who really want to know about coffee, again, it's easy. Do you have articles that talk about how do you drink coffee? What kind of coffee? Do you also share your coffee ingredients? Are they healthy? Because people are maybe looking for healthy coffees. Or is that maybe people are looking for sweet coffees? So, there is a lot of opportunities to do blogs, to write reviews, and also for customers to give you reviews. If let's say if you go to Facebook again, Facebook are able to give, customers are able to give you reviews. They can say it's the best coffee I have. And similarly on Google platform again, if you have a business listing, they can give you a 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. Those reviews are important, so you can really remarket those reviews if people have it. And of course, I think very popular here is word of mouth. If people will ask, hey, where do I go to get a coffee? You ask your friends, you ask your colleagues, you may ask your family members, or to get some recommendation. The others will probably be purchase. So purchase, I think we also talked about earlier in terms of price and place. Where is your location? How can they buy? If they previously go to a physical store, can they buy right now? For example, in Myanmar, there's a lot of food delivery. Again, if you're selling coffee, are you listed on GrabFood? Are you listed on Food Panda? Things like that. So it gives you better opportunity for you to get the customers, or the customers easier options to buy your products. So just make sure it's available for them, because in-store may not be viable. So purchase via app, for example. And basically the others will probably be after purchase is the experience, post-purchase experience. The customers can write about, or we can showcase what customers talk about us, about our product, about our coffee is good. Then we can go back using that experience, using that review to go back to our social media and post about it and say these customers says this about us. So just creating really positive feedback and sharing those positive feedback back to new customers. Yeah.
Okay, well, see, I'm in a modern customer journey. Johnson, customer in a product the cook with you, a product the cook was that TV. Now, some way we got it, people not the customer journey will do it. Similar activation. Every Tomaso makes a customer product the cook sat with tea. the product customer ကဒီသူရဲ့ product awareness ရဖို့ရှိရဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့လုပ်ငန်းတွေရတယ်ဒီ brand awareness ဒီ customer ကကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကို awareness ဖြစ်အောင်လုပ်ရမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါဆိုလို့ရှိရင် physical ရသွားမှာလားဒါမှမဟုတ် online platform ကိုတောင်းပြီးသွားမှာလားပေါ့ပထမစစ်နေလဲဆိုရှင်က product awareness ဖြစ်တာပေါ့နောက်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကဒီ customer တွေရဲ့ရှိမှာဒါ customer တွေရှာလိုက်တဲ့အခါမှာလည်းဒီတွေ့နိုင်တာမျိုးဖြစ်ရမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဥပမာ online platform မှာရှိနေရဆိုရင်လည်းGoogle မှာရှာလိုက်တာနဲ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကိုတန်းမြင်နိုင်နေတာပေါ့နော်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကအများနဲ့ဒီ customer အနေနဲ့ဒီရှာရလွယ်တဲ့ဟာလေးမှာအများနဲ့ရှိနေရမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါလေးပြောတတ်ပါတယ်ဥပမာကိုယ့်ရဲ့ physical ဒီအပြင်ပိုင်းဆိုင်မှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ဆိုင်ရဲ့ location ကိုပေါ့နော်ဒါအလွယ်တကူတွေ့နိုင်တာပေါ့အဲ့လိုမျိုးပေါ့နော်နောက်တစ်ဆင့်ကတော့ reputation ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကဘယ်လောက် customer ရဲ့ရှိမှာ image ဘယ်လောက်ကောင်းလဲ reputation ဘယ်လောက်ရှိလဲဆိုတော့ရှင်းနေတော့ပါတော့အဲ့ခါမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တွေ့စီလို့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ business owner တွေနဲ့ကိုဘယ်လိုလုပ်ရလဲဆိုတော့ review တွေပေါ့နော် blogs တွေ social media တုံးမှကိုယ့်ရဲ့ brand reputation ကိုလုပ်ရပါတယ်ပေါ့နောက်ခုမှာတော့ဒီ reputation ဒီ customer တွေရဲ့ဒီ brand reputation သူ research လုပ်မှာပဲနော်နောက်ပြီးရင်တော့သူဘောကြရဲဆိုသူဝယ်တဲ့အဆင့်ရောက်သွားပြီပေါ့ဒီ purchase အဆောင်မှာ purchase စိတ်မှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင် customer တွေဝယ်ရလွယ်အောင်ကိုယ့်အနေနဲ့ဘယ်လိုမျိုး platform ကိုတုံးထားပေးပါလဲသူတို့ order တင်လို့ရအောင်အလွယ်တကူ order တင်လို့ရအောင်ပေါ့နော်ကိုယ့်အနေနဲ့ဘယ်လိုမျိုးလုပ်ထားပေးပါဥပမာ online ကနေရောင်းနေဆိုလို့ရှိရင် online payment ကိုဘယ်လိုမျိုးနဲ့ချိန်ထားပေးပါလဲပေါ့နော်ဥပမာဆိုဆရာအနေနဲ့ပြောတာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီဝယ်လို့ရတဲ့ platform အခုဆိုလို့ရှိရင် food panda တွေပါလို့ရှိရပေါ့နော် coffee shop တွေဆို food panda နဲ့ချိန်ထားတာမျိုးလားပေါ့နော် customer အနေနဲ့ဒီ product တစ်ခုကိုဒီဝယ်တော့မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဝယ်ရလွယ်အောင်သူ့အနေနဲ့ဒါစစ်စစ်ထားပေးဖို့လိုတယ်ပေါ့နော်နောက်ဆုံးတစ်ဆင့်က customer ဝယ်ပြီးတော့ post purchase ပေါ့နော်ဝယ်ပြီးတော့သူ့ရဲ့ experience customer experience ကိုနေဖို့လိုတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီသူ့ရဲ့ review ပေါ့သူရဲ့ review ကိုဒီမှာ word of mouth နဲ့ပြန်သွားလို့ရတယ်ပေါ့နော်နောက် customer အဲ့တော့သူ့အနေနဲ့ဒီ customer ရဲ့ review ကိုလည်းပြန်ပြီးမှဒီ sensitive ပေးဖို့ပေါ့နော်သူလည်းပြောတာဖြစ်ပါရဲ့ရှင် Yes thank you
The next one I wanted to touch upon is kind of media consumption. I think during COVID times, people are staying home more and a lot of businesses are working from home. So there are some shifts in terms of the media habits. If you are thinking to advertise, if you are thinking to do marketing campaigns, you really need to understand the shift in terms of the behavior of where the customers may be able to get the information. Actually, TV watching, TV advertising is relatively expensive. But maybe if you have the budget, actually TV will still be a very good medium for you to reach your customers for the awareness stage. Basically, it is a platform for businesses to really reach at scale. Let's say your product is available nationwide, so TV is a good platform for you to look into. Of course, internet usage, people are also watching a lot more videos online over the last maybe 9-12 months. So social or digital actually gives you a relatively it's easier, it's quicker to prepare, and it's more immediate, as in all digital platforms. So you can also target, if you are spending some money, you can also target your customers based on the 2 slides earlier. You have your customer's persona, so you kind of know what he or she does and what kind of communication he or she will likely like to see. Then you can create those kind of content that target to that customer persona. And within that persona, you also will know roughly which area they are in. Where do they live? For example, you can look at your sales data. The customers coming from Yangon or the customers coming from the Irrawaddy areas. Really looking at to how you can really reach to those segments or geographical areas. And of course, digital and social is it's not the cheapest, but it's more affordable because you have more control in terms of your campaigns that you run, in terms of the ad buy.
ဒီပြောရမယ်အခုပြောတော့ဆိုဒီ media consumption ပေါ့ဒီပေါ်မှာဒီမှာလည်း customer behavior တွေသိနိုင်တဲ့အကြောင်းကိုပြောတာပါเนาะဟုတ်ကဲ့ဒါမှဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီ media option တွေရှိရဲဆိုတာပဲထပ်ပြောသွားပါเนาะအဲဒါမှဆိုလို့ရှိရင် physical ဟို TV ကိုသုံးမယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့နည်းနည်းဈေးကြီးနေပေါ့เนาะကိုယ့်ရဲ့ digital ဒါမှမဟုတ်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ social media တို့ digital ဘိုင်းတော့မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ပုံပြီးမှကိုယ်အနေနဲ့တက်နိုင်တဲ့အပိုင်းလေးဒီမှာရှိရပေါ့နော်အဲ့လေးကိုဆက်နေတဲ့ digital tool လေးကိုသုံးဖို့ပေါ့နော်ဒီຢာလေးတွေရဲ့ကောင်းကျိုးလေးကိုဆက်နေတယ်ပြောတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်
So this is just a data, overall data for January 2020. I think the updated data for 2021 will come I think in the next 2 weeks, so I don't have the information right now, so I'm just sharing this is kind of a year ago data in January. So in terms of Myanmar, you can see there are a lot of opportunities because mobile phone connection is actually more than the people in Myanmar. It's 68 million, right? So a lot of people are using mobile phones. So that will tell you something. If as a SME, I can reach people, everyone is on their smartphone. So the chances are they will be able to, how can you interact with them? Or how can you show your product or services to your target audience? Chances are it is through the smartphone. Whether they are on a Facebook, they are on websites, they are watching movies, etc. Spending time on the phone it's relatively common. Internet users in Myanmar, it's 22 million, and most of it is actually from mobile. And active media, social media user is also 22 million. Predominantly, the social media here will equates to Facebook, which again has about over 90% of the 22 million. So a lot of the people are on Facebook. This is kind of the data that can tell you the information. So here we have a little bit more. So out of that, in Myanmar, right, in January 2020, you have about 26% of the Myanmar population which has a bank account. But I believe this is growing relatively quickly over the next, currently as well as over the next few years. And the other thing that we should look at is also digitization, because a lot of banks now offer mobile banking, so you don't really physically need to go to the bank, and the behavior is kind of shifting right now. It will take some time to shift into fully digital, but I think there is some people who really don't need to go to the bank physically anymore to do a lot of their transactions. And in terms of credit card, it is still a very small market for Myanmar in credit card. It's growing, but it's relatively small, and predominantly it's only very central in Yangon. And mobile money, again, like mobile wallet, this is also a growing segment. Relatively small right now, but I think it has grown tremendously over the last 12 months. I don't have the figure. The figure will probably come in the next 2 weeks, but this is January data. But I think over the last 12 months, a lot of things have happened, and this have pushed up. We are probably looking at maybe 1% over, 2%. So this is quite huge in terms of the city metro area. And people doing online purchase. As you look at it, there is also attraction. People are doing online purchase, QR pay, or paying bills online. So these are, again, if you are in the government are also pushing for e-government. So a lot of the municipal council like YCDC, you are able to pay now online without going physically there. So this is things that will be driving a lot more online purchase. So when people are more familiar with this, so my question to the businesses is, are you then online for the customers? Can they buy online for your products? Even you are a wholesaler, for example, can they pay online? Can they order online? If you are selling maybe fertilizers, can the farmers or the regional or your from different region, can they go and buy on your Facebook page or your Facebook shops? Are they able to order? So things like that, I think there's some consideration that you all need to really think about to see how you can really understand the customer's behavior, where they will really want to buy it. I think this, I'm not sure, Consi, do you want to explain this? Or
I think we can skip
Yes,
this one. Yeah, it's just like.
Yeah. So the next one is more of really positioning your brand, right? When I say brand, it can be your company, it can be your product, it can be your service. I think it's important really to spend time to build that product service to really be able to stand out and hopefully be able to withstand time. If you're a new product or if you're a relatively new company, how will that business grow in the next five years, next 3-5 years? There is really no easy path to success. Big or small company really need to spend time and resources to really understand your customers, understand why you start this business, why keeps you you have probably identified an opportunity in the past. That's one of the reasons why you have started this business. And when you started that business in the past, the environment is quite different that time versus now. And what will your business look like in the next 3 years in the future? So I think that is something that you have to really think about and really dig deep and really understand, and how you can be different, you can be unique from the market, from your competition. So there are kind of a few tips here. So really, to be relevant, your brand must focus on product service characteristics and the benefit that customers will get from, will draw upon. I think that's one, to be very relevant to the customers. And clarity, your brand needs to, you must always be able to communicate, and the brand positioning must be easy to understand in order to communicate. I think this is also important. We, as a product or as a company or as a brand, we should not be saying too many things. We should be really focused and be very clear on what we can deliver. If going back to the customer or the earlier about the coffee brand, if you are talking about your coffee, what is the differentiation? Does it come out in your naming of the brand? Does it, what do you want really to position or communicate to the customers? My coffee is the best coffee. If let's say you are the best coffee, then you have to define what is the meaning of best. Best means what? Because best can be, is it a number one, or is it best to your customer persona only? Best in terms of bitterness, for example. So these are things that we really need to clarify. And the third one will be distinctiveness in terms of what make you unique in your market. What is the unique or different? Again, is a distinct voice versus your competition. Taking back the coffee brand, for example, your communication, or if you have a Facebook page, how do you communicate to your customer? The tone of voice may be one of the differentiator. It can be spoken like from a voice of a lady, from a voice of a man to give you more authoritative sound. So these are things that you really need to think about in terms of how you communicate to your customer. If you are communicate to your customer in a tone of voice of a female, so it will act as it is more of feminine brand. And how do you then tackle to a feminine brand to a lady, a feminine brand to a gentleman? So these are things that really need to think about again. And coherent, your brand positioning statement must reflect all other marketing communication strategies. So where do you really position your brand? If let's say you have a coffee that's bitter, so that is kind of your positioning to really segment that as a coffee for bitter or coffee for people who love bitterness. So that is a positioning for you. So you will have to say and own that positioning and do everything in your communication to really focus on that. And again, once the positioning is adopted, companies must really commit to that. So there are a few, of course, brand positioning, it is to really do branding, it takes time. I also really want the audience here to really understand sales is quite immediate. You can see sales taking place every day, but to build a brand, you can't see the brand go up and down every day. The brand will take time. It's a slow process to build the brand, but sales is one of the kind of the reward of building a brand. If you build a brand long term, your sales will definitely be there for you because you are building awareness along the way. And sometimes I think it is also it needs to take courage, or sometimes more of like a risk, because you really need to really say that my coffee caters to people with a bitter taste. It is not easy. Some people may not be committed. I say I want to sell coffee for everybody. So, but out of all the companies that sells coffee, everyone is selling coffee for everybody. So there is no distinctiveness, there is no differentiation, and customers may not know anywhere because everyone says coffee for everybody. So everyone can go and buy coffee anywhere. So they will not come to you. Maybe they will come to you by chance because you are there today, but they will not come back to you tomorrow because there's no differentiation, there's no positioning. So it takes courage to really say, I want to focus here. This is my product. It is not easy, but I think that is something that as a business owner or SME owner, you really have to think hard. I think it's a good opportunity right now to do that, to really look into your product, be focused, to really drive that kind of focus and take the next step. Try and error. I think that is also a risk for SME. And for most businesses, the first step to really take is to start it, to start doing, to start trying. And if it's failed, because on social, on digital, it doesn't take a lot of budgets, so you can really test and try and see your customers' feedback. If it's good, then you can continue. If it's not, then you can try something else. I think it's also good opportunity right now to really test and try. Yep. You're mute.
ဆရာအနေနဲ့တော့ဒီအပိုင်းမှာပေါ့နော် brand positioning အပိုင်းကိုသူ့အနေနဲ့ပြောသွားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ brand ကိုဘယ်လိုမျိုးကိုက market ထဲမှာ positioning ဘယ်လိုယူမလဲပေါ့နော်အဲ့ဒီအကြောင်းသူပြောသွားတာဖြစ်တယ်ပေါ့ပထမဆုံးအပိုင်းမှာဆိုသူအချက်လေးတွေနဲ့ပြောသွားတာ brand position လုပ်မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ပထမဆုံး relevance ဆိုတာရှိရမယ်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့ခါဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အဓိကအနေနဲ့ဒီ business owner တွေကကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ရဲ့ service တွေဒီ characteristic နဲ့ဒီ customer ကိုဘယ်လောက် benefit ပေးနိုင်မလဲပေါ့နော် customer ကဒီ product ရလိုက်တဲ့အခါမှာဘယ်လောက်သူ့အတွက် သူလိုချင်တဲ့ needs ကိုဘယ်လောက်ဖြည့်ပြီးသွားနိုင်မလဲဆိုတဲ့အဓိကဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ရဲ့ဒီ function characteristic နဲ့အကျိုးတွေဒီ benefit တွေကိုသူအနေနဲ့ပထမဆုံး focus လုပ်ရပါမယ်တဲ့ဒုတိယနေ့က clarify ပေါ့နော်ကိုလုပ်လိုက်တဲ့ brand positioning ကို customer အနေနဲ့နားလည်ရလွယ်အောင်ဖြစ်ရမယ်ပေါ့နော်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ brand positioning ကဘယ်နားမှာရှိကိုယူလိုက်တဲ့ brand positioning customer အနေနဲ့လည်းနားလည်လွယ်ကူရဲ့ဟာမျိုးဖြစ်နေရမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါလိုနားလည်လွယ်ကူနေရမယ်ပြီးတော့customer အနေနဲ့ communicate ကိုပြန်ပြီးတော့ဆက်သွယ်လာ communication မှာလည်းလွယ်ကူအောင်လုပ်ထားရမယ်ပေါ့နော်နောက်တစ်ခုကကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကတခြား competitor နဲ့ရှင်နေဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဘယ်အရာကကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကိုထူးခြားစေနိုင်တာလဲပေါ့နော်ပိုပြီးမှဒါမျိုးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့ပိုပြီးမှဒီ competitor နဲ့ကြားထဲမှာကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကိုထိုးဖောက်နိုင်မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ပေါ့နောက်ခုက commitment ပေါ့နော်ကိုက brand position တစ်ခုသတ်မှတ်လိုက်ပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်သူ့ရဲ့နောက်ဆက်တွဲမှာလုပ်လာမယ်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ strategy ဘာတွေ marketing strategy ဘာတွေရှိရပေါ့နော်အဲ့ဟာတွေကို commitment ရှိနဲ့လုပ်နိုင်ဖို့လိုရပေါ့နော်ပြီးတော့နောက်ခုက hearing ဆိုတာဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ brand position နဲ့ကိုလုပ်တဲ့ marketing strategy ကကိုက်ညီနေရမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါလေးပြောတော့တယ်နောက်က patient brand position တစ်ခုတည်ဆောက်ဖို့ရတော့ကနေတင်ရတဲ့ချင်းဖြစ်လာတာမျိုးမဟုတ်ဘူးပေါ့နော်ဒီတော့အချိန်တစ်ခုကိုပေးပြီးမှဥပမာ market ရဲ့ဆရာပြောတာလို့ဒီ customer ရဲ့ behavior ကိုကြည့်ပြီးမှကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ရဲ့ characteristic ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကလည်းအဲ့ customer တွေကိုဘာအကျိုးပြုနိုင်တာလဲပုံပြီးဒီဒါတွေအကုန်လုံး research လုပ်ပြီးပေါ့နော်ဒါတွေ sensitive ပြီးမှသူအချိန်ယူရတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါအချိန်ယူပြီးမှဒီ brand positioning ကိုယူbrand positioning ကောင်းကောင်းလုပ်နိုင်တယ်ဆိုတဲ့ဟာပေါ့နော်နောက်တစ်ခုက courage ဖြစ်နေရမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ brand ကဒီ competitor ရဲ့ဆံမှာထိုးဖောက်မှာဖြစ်တဲ့အတွက်ကိုကအသစ်တွေကိုပြန်ပြီး try လုပ်တာမျိုးကိုဆရာအနေနဲ့ပြောထား courage ပေါ့နော်အတစ် try တာကိုအတစ် try ရမယ်ဒီအတစ် try ပြီးမှဒါလေးကို try ကြည့်မှ customer feedback ကိုပြန်နားထောင်ပြီးမှကောင်းတယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ပြန်ရှေ့ဆက်သွားမကောင်းဘူးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လည်းနောက်တစ်နည်းလမ်းတစ်ခုပြန်ပြီးမှအတစ် new ways ပေါ့နော်အတစ်အနေနဲ့ပြန်ပြီးမှ try လုပ်ကြည့်ဖို့ရတဲ့ဆရာအနေနဲ့ပြောသွားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်
And so I just, these are the last two slides. So I kind of provided some overview of challenge and some opportunities for this. So there's kind of 10 areas I've looked into. Endemic or not, I think marketing is important in terms of any aspect of running a business. So everyone in the world is trying to really get a grip on how we can learn and how we can adapt. So number one is highlight how your brand can help at this time. I think this is also a challenge for not only for businesses, but for everyone. How you can stand up, meaning how you can actually give additional value to your customers. If you are a trader or if you are a wholesaler, how you can actually provide additional support to your retailers. I think that's kind of something that you need to figure out on how in a creative way or even of a virtual way to really deliver value to your customers. If you can't meet them, you can do an online conference video conference call with them. So these are things that, again, it is quite broad, but really unique to your own type of business. So second is to reach out to your loyal customers. First, you need to identify who are your loyal customers. Once you know who they are, really go out and talk to them. How you really can help and support them. You know, why are they your loyal customers? Reach out to them, understand them. So how you can then separately build other customers to become your loyal customers. You really need to understand that. Not just selling, but really understanding. So also practice empathy while promoting your brand. So at this time, because again, everyone has their own challenges. Maybe they do not have a lot of money in the pocket. How ways you can repackage your products, maybe in terms of sizing it up, sizing it down. There's many ways. Again, it really depends on your product and services, how you can unbundle your services to provide more value or a cheaper option for customers. And fourth is, for example, to really reconsider and modify your marketing budget. If you are planning to have some budget, what works previously, maybe last year in 2019 or 2020, will look very different. How can we do differently in 2021? If you have not run a marketing budget before, so it's time to really think about your customer persona and how you can put a budget together. But my personal opinion is really to try and test. I think that's fundamental for do something, test it. If it works, then we can increase your budget. If it doesn't work, then we can do a plan B and do something else. So the fifth one is to really amplify your online presence via social media. This is something of the things that I've talked a lot, I think earlier, and now is if you do not have an online presence, start one. If you already have an online presence, how you can amplify them. If you already have one, you will probably have some insights into what works in the past, what doesn't work in the past. If you have a website, you'll probably be able to see how many visitors have visited your website in the past. What can you do more right now to really get people to come more often? You can reach out to them via email or even on Facebook. Are people really coming to your page? Are they putting in comments to say your product is or your service is good or not, and how can you reach out to those customers? Sorry, I think Consing to you want to.
အခုဒီမှာတော့ဆက်နေပေါ့လေဒီဆက်တူမှာဒီကျွန်တော်ဒီ business သမားတွေဒီ business လုပ်ငန်းရှင်တွေတက်ပေါ့နော်ကျွန်တော်နိုင်ရတဲ့ challenge တို့မှ opportunity တွေဆရာအနေနဲ့စဉ်းစားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ပထမဆုံးနေတော့ဆရာအနေနဲ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ brand ကပေါ့နော်ဒီ customer တွေကိုဘယ်လောက်like customer needs and want ကိုဘယ်လောက်ဖြည့်ပေးနိုင်လဲဆိုတာကိုသူအနေနဲ့အဓိကအနေနဲ့ထည့်နေစဉ်းစားဖို့ပြောတော့နော်အဲဆို customer တွေနဲ့အခုချိန်မှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင် virtual ပေါ့နော်ဒီ online platform ကိုသုံးတဲ့ဒီ customer တွေကိုဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product value တွေကိုcustomer တွေပေးနိုင်တဲ့အချိန်ဖြစ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်အခုချိန်ကတော့ဒါကြောင့်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product value ပေါ့နော်အဲ့ဟာပါလဲဆိုတာကိုဒါလေး sensitive ကိုပြောတော့တော့နောက်တစ်ခုကတော့ဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ loyal customer တွေလို့ရအောင်ပါမှာဘယ်လိုရအောင်ဥပမာဆိုရှင်ကိုမှဆိုရှင် existing customer ရှိပြီးသားပေါ့နော်ဒါဆို customer database လည်းရှိပြီးသားဒီ customer database ကိုပြန်ပြီးကြည့်ပြီးမှအဲ့အနေနဲ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ဒီ existing customer တွေကိုကိုယ့်ရဲ့ loyal customer တွေပြန်ဖြစ်လာအောင်ပေါ့နော်သူတို့နဲ့အများနဲ့ connection ရှိနေရတယ်ပေါ့နော်ပြောတော့ရဲနောက်တစ်ခုကကျတော့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ brand ကို promotion လုပ်တဲ့အခါမှာအဲ့ customer နဲ့ပို့ပြီးမှ communicate လုပ်တဲ့အခါမှာပေါ့နော် clear channel ပေါ့နော် communication လုပ်တဲ့အခါမှာ clear channel တွေအသုံးပြုဖို့ပြောသွားတယ်နောက်4ခုမြောက်မှာတော့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ budget marketing budget ကိုပြန်ချိန်ကြည့်ဖို့နော်ဥပမာက marketing budget တစ်ခုကို set up လုပ်ထားတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီ product ကိုသုံးကြည့်ရပြီး marketing product တစ်ခုကို marketing လုပ်ကြည့်တယ်ပေါ့နော်try and test ပေါ့နော်ဆရာအနေနဲ့ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုလုပ်ထားတဲ့ marketing နဲ့လုပ်ကြည့်မယ်ဒီဟာနဲ့ effective မဖြစ်ဘူးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်နောက် new အတစ်ကိုပြန်ပြီး try လုပ်မယ်ပေါ့နော်လုပ်တဲ့အခါမှာလည်းကိုယ့်ရဲ့ marketing budget ကိုပြန်ကြည့်ပေးဖို့ပြောထားတယ်ပေါ့နော်နောက်တစ်ခါဆရာအရှိမတူဒီအဓိကနဲ့ဒီ online platform ကိုတုံးဖို့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ project တွေကိုဒီ online ပေါ်မှာရှိနေဖို့ပေါ့နော်ဒါပေမဲ့ဆိုအခုလူတွေက social media တွေ online တွေတုံးလာတာများလာတဲ့အတွက်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product တွေကိုယ့်ရဲ့ service တွေ online မှာရှိနေဖို့အတွက်ဆရာအနေနဲ့အကြံပေးသွားဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်
And the number 6 is basically if you're a retail business, I think there is opportunity for us to kind of look at how we can make our payment contactless, whether it's through QR payment or if it's not, are you able to start getting payment online via mobile wallets or via online banking? How can customers be able to consume your product or services in an easier way as possible? So these are things that I think really to look into, because I think physical coming to the store right now, I think the customers traffic will be quite limited. So how can you balance that with your online customers transaction? So I think that there is opportunity for you all to really test the online part of the business. And of course, number 7 is to be available online. So again, I mentioned earlier, I think this is really important, and the service is basically free. You can update your Google My Business listing. It provides people around that area to do searches. It provides visibility for your business to see, to be able to kind of comment. This is basically based on my recent experience that even in region as far as like in Dawei, people are businesses who use this listing, they do get inquiries. They are actually able to get inquiries because they have Google allows you to put a map of your outlet, physical outlet there, and there's a phone number, and you can provide your promotion details in the Google listing. So people are actually going there instead of they going down to the store physically. They will go to the site, they can look, and they receive once they started this business, they actually receive like 20-30 calls a day. It's a retail business, so it's quite a good opportunity, and it doesn't really cost any money. So number 8 is really to reevaluate your customers' changing needs. So when you understand your customer persona, are there changes in their needs? I think from 2020, you'll probably see a lot of changes. So will this change keep them? Would it be a permanent change or a temporary change? I think this is a big question. Nobody will be able to tell. It really depends on how the situation is being controlled, the pandemic is being controlled, the market environment. But the point here is to really regularly monitor your customers' behavior, maybe on a quarterly basis, to see if there is any changes, not just in terms of sales numbers, but really on the behavior as well. Maybe customers are buying from your competitors. So certain things your competitors are doing to attract those customers, what are they? So to really understand that. And number 9 is really to, here is mentioning to really find your niche, find your uniqueness, do what you are good at, and see how you can scale that and refocus. So the easiest way to do this is really to go back to the reason why you started business. You started this business for a reason, and how we can go back to core. Because some of the SME businesses that I come to know is they tend to scale. When they scale, they do a lot of different type of businesses. They may be not unique to them, but because the market condition at that time is good, so they scale. But right now the market condition may not be so good, but those businesses, you will need to rethink whether you should continue or not. And if you should not continue, then you should focus back on what you are really good at. I think that is advice that I provide. And number 10 is really to stay connected with your customers. I also put there with your employees. If you are working from home, I think employees are also very important for SME businesses. They are your additional hands and legs, and they provide really that kind of commitment to grow your business. As SME, I think we really need to take care of the employees. That's the number 1 focus, because the employees will then take care of your customers, will then take care and support you with your business. So I think these are ways that there are challenges, but there are also opportunities, because we are not connected with our customers physically. How can we connect with them online? We are not connected with the employees physically. How can we connect with them online? I think those are things that businesses need to ask themselves. And there are many tools outside that can allow you to really connect. It's just the way that we need to put a focus on what is important to you.
အနေနဲ့ထပ်ပြီးပြောသွားပါတော့ခုန5ချက်ပြောသွားတယ်တခု6ချက်မှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒါ customer နဲ့ကိုယ်နဲ့အခုကာလမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုကိုကြီးပါတော့เนาะဒီ contact လုပ်ဆရာမလို့ contact ပါเนาะဒီတယောက်နဲ့တယောက်အရင်ဒီ duration မှာဆိုတယောက်တယောက် contact မရှိရအောင်ဆိုတဲ့အတိုင်းပေါ့เนาะ in person ပေါ့เนาะအဲ့တော့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့အဲ့ဟာကြရင်ဘယ်လိုလုပ်မလဲပေါ့เนาะအခုဖြစ်နေတဲ့ situation ဘယ်လိုကျော်လာမယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဆက်စမအနေနဲ့ဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ online business တွေကိုကိုယ့်ရဲ့ business ရဲ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product တွေကို customer အနေနဲ့ဒီအလွယ်ကူဆုံးနဲ့ပေါ့နော်အထီးအောင်ဝင်နိုင်ဖို့ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီ online payment တွေကိုသုံးမှလားပေါ့နော်အဲ့လိုမျိုးဒီသူ suggestion ပေးတော့တယ်နောက်တစ်ခုကကိုယ့်ရဲ့ business ကအခု highlight ပြသွားတာဒီမှာဆိုရင် Google My Business ပေါ့နော်အဲ့ဟာလေးရဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒါဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒါငွေကုန်ကြေးကြမလိုဘဲနဲ့ပေါ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ business ကိုGoogle မှာပေါ့နော်လူတွေရှာလိုက်တဲ့အခါမှာလို့ရှိရင် account like တွေ့နိုင်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီဟာလေးကိုသူတုံးကြည့်ပြလိုက်ဆရာအနေနဲ့ comment ပေးထားပါ Google My Business အဲ့မှာဆိုရှင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product တွေကို list လုပ်လို့ရတယ်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ promotion အကြောင်းတွေကိုအဲ့မှာတွိုင်းမှပေါ့နော် update လုပ်လို့ရတယ်ဆိုတဲ့အကြောင်းပြောတာအဲ့တော့သူအနေနဲ့ဆရာအနေနဲ့ပြန်ထပ်ပြောင်းပြောရတော့ခုခေတ်ကာလလေးလျောက်ဒီအနာဂတ်မှာဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့စီးပွားရေးလုပ်ငန်းကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product တွေကိုဒီ online မှာရှိနေဖို့ရတဲ့ဆရာအနေနဲ့ထပ်လောင်းပြောထားတယ်။နောက်တစ်ခုက customer တွေရဲ့လိုအပ်ချက်တွေကအများနဲ့ပြောင်းလဲလာတဲ့ရောက်အများနဲ့ customer ရဲ့လိုအပ်ချက်တွေကိုအများနဲ့ဆန်းစစ်နေဖို့လိုပါတယ်ပေါ့။နောက်တစ်ခုကကိုဘာဘဲမှာကောင်းကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကဘာအားသာနေလဲပေါ့နော်ဒီအားသာချက်နဲ့လျောက်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer ကိုကဒီ segment ခွဲနိုင်မယ်အဲ့ခါမှာကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ဒီပေါ့နော် right customer ပေါ့နော်ဒီရောက်သွားနိုင်ဖို့ရတဲ့ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ကဘာကောင်းတာပေးနိုင်လဲပေါ့နော်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ product ရဲ့အဓိကဒီ unique ဖြစ်တဲ့အရာပါလဲဆိုတဲ့ဟာကိုသူရှာပြီးပြောထားတယ်နောက်ခုကကိုယ့်ရဲ့ customer တွေနဲ့အမြဲတမ်းပေါ့နော် connection ရှိနေဖို့ရပြောထားတယ်အခုခေတ်ကာလမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီ customer တာမကကိုယ့်ရဲ့ employee နဲ့ပေါ့နော် work from home ဖြစ်နေရကာလတွေလေးရောက်ပေါ့နော်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့ employee နဲ့အမြဲတမ်းကိုနဲ့ connection ရှိနေဖို့ရတဲ့ဆရာအနေနဲ့ suggestion ပေးသွားတာပေါ့နော်ဟုတ်ကဲ့ကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်ရှင်Yeah, you can move on, which is yeah. Okay. So Sama, I think you are mute, Richard.
Sorry. So yeah, that was my last slide. So I think we can kind of do Q&A if there's any further questions.
Okay. ဆက်စမအနေနဲ့ရောမိကိုရှိတီလာပေါ့နော်အချိန်တော့အရင်နေပြီဖြစ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါပေမဲ့မိကိုရှိတီရဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဆက်စမအနေနဲ့အခုချိန်မှာ Q&A section ပြည့်ရတဲ့အတွက်ပေါ့နော်မိကိုလေးမေးလို့ရပါတယ်ဆရာနဲ့တရက်ရမေးလို့ရပါတယ်ရှင်ဟို slide မေးထားတဲ့ဆက်စမတွေရရှိရပေါ့နော်ဒီဟာလေးလည်း facility ကနေတော့ကနေပြန်ပို့ပေးသားမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင် recording တော့တော်ရဲ့ recording နဲ့ slide တွေကိုကျွန်တော်တို့ email နဲ့တစ်ဆင့်ပြန်ပေးပေးမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်အဲ့တော့ဆက်စမအနေနဲ့ပေါ့နော်မိကွန်းလေးရှိရင်လည်းအခုချိန်မှာမေးလို့ရပါတယ်ရှင်ဟုတ်မိကွန်းရှိလားဆရာဟုတ်ကဲ့ကျွန်တော်ဆရာဆမတွေရောရှင်မိကွန်းရှိလားရှင်မိကွန်းရှင်ရဲ့စံတော့9မိနစ်လောက်ပေါ့နော်ဆရာနဲ့တက်ရက်ပြောလို့ရပါတယ်ရှင်မိကိုမရှိဘူးဆိုရင်တော့အစနိုဒီမှာပေါ့နော်webinar လေးကိုဒီမှာရက်နာတော့မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီတော့မိကိုလေးရှိတည်ရဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဆက်စမများမိကိုရှိတည်လားရှင်
Sorry, my line was cut off.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
You mentioned earlier in your presentation that the marketing mix is based on the 4P, and the promotion has to come last. We have to build up our first 3P first before we start doing our promotion. And also you are asking us to be patient while building the branding, and also have to be more how to say the commitment have to be there to build up the branding. And yeah, overall I'm not a marketing person or branding person, but I find it is very interesting and knowledgeable on this, how to say, good knowledge on this point of view. And how long do you think that is the branding have to be better before we start to see the effect of the how to say, branding, whether it is a good way of doing it or no?
Understand. So usually for companies to, just to give you a perspective. So for example, sales, usually it's easier to track because basically people buy, if you are selling which SKU sells better, maybe which flavor sells better, or which day they buy, or which region they buy. So in terms of brand, it is a bit difficult to really track on the daily basis. So it is really over time. What usually we will recommend is, do we know where you are at today? So things like that, do your customers or do people know who you are today? So that's brand for you. For example, today nobody knows about you, or very limited people. How do you know that? For bigger organization, usually they will spend some money engaging a third party to do kind of quantitative research. They will a sample size of maybe 1,000 that can reflect. Maybe if you are, it depends on your business. Let's say your business is in Yangon, so we can have one sample size of 1,000 people, which we will interview in Yangon. Do you know this brand? Do you know this product? Before you do anything, so that they will give you measuring, so they will know whether your product is, the awareness is there or not. Your brand, people know about it or not. Maybe the awareness is at a scale of 0 to 100, maybe 20. So out of 100 people or out of 1,000 people, 200 people knows about it. So that is a baseline, for example. Then maybe you need to do something. You run a campaign, you run a social media campaign, you post your Facebook page, you do some activities. Maybe 3 months later, then you measure again. The 200 sample, does it go to 400? Does it go to 500? It's 50%. So that you can measure that there's more people know about your product. And you tie that back with your sales. Does your sales increase because of the brand awareness? Because brand awareness, it takes time, and it is, so the more important is also the message and your positioning. If you have the brand, does it really talk to your customer? So because a lot of brands, I can see it, right? For example, if it's a mobile phone, there's so many brands. There's Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, Huawei, Samsung. I know all these brands, but I don't use any of it. I use an iPhone. So the top of mind is there, the brand is there, but I am not your customer.
Understand.
But big brands, they do have the budget. They do have the budget to reach more, right? But as SME, we may not have that budget to reach so much. So we really want to understand who are if I'm a Huawei, I want to really focus on the Huawei user. Who are they? I want to reach them more. If I'm an iPhone user, I will not have the budget to build the awareness for everybody, right? It's a huge amount. So I really want to really focus on that segment to build that. So that is, I think, to reflect the brand, right? For SME, what I will do is, you can talk to your customer today. Why? You can ask this simple question: why do you buy from me? There is a reason. They will tell you, maybe you are the cheapest, maybe I like you, you are a good boss, I know you for 20 years, so I trust you. So what is that? So if a lot of people say, I trust you, I trust you, I trust you, then I think there is something that you can build upon. I want to build trust. Or maybe people will say, because you are very convenient, I can get your product anywhere, convenient. So then that will be your area of focus. because your benefit, your kind of unique or your distinction is your competitive edge is convenient. So it is really spending time talking to customers to really put together, because brand is not just about logo, not just about name. There is something more than that, and that's something, it is a little bit more emotional. It is something that you cannot see, you cannot touch, but you can feel. It is something in the mind. So usually people will say, oh, they will pay like 15, 20 lakh for an iPhone. Why? Because whatever 2 lakh phone can do similarly, maybe not as fantastic as the iPhone, but the 2 lakh phone can do anything and most of the things that a 20 lakh phone can do. But they are paying that 18 lakh premium. Why? Because of the brand. Because I hold the iPhone, I feel more premium, I feel more superior. My friend would think I am someone. So it's all feeling. It may not be true, but it is all in the mind. So that is something that the brand can do over time, because like iPhone, it takes a long time to build. It is not like 1 year you can be an iPhone. It takes 20 years, 30 years. So it really be really focused to do what you are strong at and continue to do that. Then you will build the brand along the way.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your explanation. Yeah, it's kind of, and also, I just took over one of the distribution company, and trying to assess the current. I took over last year, early of last year, just before the COVID, and a little bit kind of like struggling in the first, but I try to make effort to visit the customer, talk to them, and try to understand what their needs, and try to position ourselves on our stronghold area, as well as our product, which is doing well in the market, and also trying to build up the presence of our products in every main area of the country where we are agriculture related. So wherever the main agriculture area is, we try to be present there. But at the same time, we also have to be a bit careful and try not to let a lot of dealers dealing with us, because maybe it will be a cutthroat situation where they try to lower the price and try to compete among themselves. And then end of the day, our product brand will be recognized as a cheap brand, which I don't want to, because our product quality is good, and we can assure the customer and the user that our product are not at the lowest level in pricing, but at the reasonable pricing, but the benefits of using it is worth it, worth to the money that they have paid. So it's a kind of like it's a pretty long journey to build up this kind of trust and awareness of the brand in that particular market. But
yes,
I think with your slide and with your presentation and advisors, I believe that I have to do a little bit more on the online presence, and also the social media marketing, as well as the kind of trying to find out where are the gaps and where are the area that we need to improve at the long run.
Yeah. So generally, what I've given is kind of a guide, because I think in terms of doing marketing, the challenge is also each business or each brand is very unique. You have your set of customers, so there really isn't one size that can fit everything. It's not like a template that everyone can use, but some may want to focus on product or service a bit more. Some may want to focus really, they already have a strong product, they want to focus on promotion. Some really, they have already a good distribution, but maybe their product are not so good, not so great, but they have good distribution, so they may want to focus on how they can provide a better, stronger product. So it is really a mix of all this. But at the end, I think there is also the core is really the customer. Because anything, product or service that you sell, there is a buyer, and we just need to understand why they buy. When we understand why they buy, that is where the best thing will happen. How can we make more of these people? They can buy more, or we can look for people of the similar profile, because they will need your product, but they may not aware of your product. So we need to create awareness for those. So it is based on, if anything and everything is lost, just going back to basic for me is really to look at the customer, the core customers. Who are we looking at, talking to them? And like some businesses, if you go through the supply chain, right? So you are manufacturer, so you have wholesaler, traders, retailers. So there's multiple. So those are things that if you have a customer persona, it is good to be able to be sharing across that. So the traders will know this product actually is to this segment, or the wholesalers will understand. The challenge is sometimes the wholesaler is they treat it as like, in and out. So I buy, I sell. So they will dump the price. But we really need to spend time to tell them, there is quality, how they can market for us. So there is a margin, but on top of that, there may be a story, there may be a brand related that they can focus and help us communicate with the retailers.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you very much for your question and answer. Okay. ကျွန်တော်ဆက်ဆံမတွေလဲပေါ့နော်ဟိုပါလေမေးစရာရှိသေးလားရှင်မေးရောဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့ပေါ့နော်ကျွန်တော်အချိန်လည်းရမ်းနေပြီရဲ့အတွက်ဝေဖနာလေးကိုဒီနားမှာအဆုံးသတ်ချင်ပါတယ်ရှင်ဟုတ်ကဲ့အခုလိုတက်ရောက်ပေးကြတဲ့ဆက်ဆံမများအားလုံးကိုလည်း Detroit Institute ကနေကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဟုတ်ကဲ့နောက်ပြီးတော့ဝေဖနာလေးမှာအားလုံးလည်းပြန်လည်ဆုံတွေ့ချင်ပါတယ်ရှင်ကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ် Thank you very much Richard we got a lot of benefit from your expertise thank you very much Thank you for your
no problem. Thank you guys.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Thanks all. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.